Hey everybody, Roger Brown here with UMG Energy, and I want to explain to you how we find savings and how we invoice customers, how we prove savings to customers. This is something that applies really easily to utilities, the areas that we work in: electricity, natural gas, related fuels, water and sewer, and trash hauling, because they're all very formula based. The billings are very formula based. Pardon me, I'm going over a speed bump. But it applies really to any consulting business. It just probably takes a little bit more work to set up what that formula is. Ours is very obvious, but there's formulas involved in any kind of consulting business. So there are three steps that we go through in order to do a pay for performance deal. We first of all establish up front with the client, before we ever do anything, we establish what the terms of the agreement are going to be. We share in whatever we produce, whatever money we actually provably put in somebody's back pocket. We share, just split 50-50 going forward 60 months. We split any refunds that we do. We have an agreement to that effect. It's just that simple. We always get that done beforehand, before we ever start. We want to get those terms nailed down, and I suggest, if you want to do a pay for performance deal with your consulting business, that you think about the same kind of thing. Now, the second thing is we develop savings. We look at what might be achievable. We need recent sets of invoices in order to do that, and it usually takes us about 10 days to come up with recommendations. And then the third step is we present those recommendations in detail to our clients. We don't hold anything back. We tell them everything that we would do if we were their energy or their utility manager. And then we implement for them, we get it done for them or with them, whatever recommendations they choose to implement. And we're paid after we prove the savings, and that usually comes in the first month after a savings has been implemented. We just get a recent copy of a bill and simulate what the charge would have been had we not been involved. That's super simple to do, like I said before, because of the fact that this is all formula based. We just take an old formula, we run the new consumption through the old formula to create what the bill would have been had we not been there, and then we compare that to the actual bill that occurred after the savings was implemented, and that delta, or that difference, becomes the savings, and we just split that. We often get the utility to do that math for us. We will have the customer reach out in a ghostwritten email to the utility and ask them to calculate the savings, and that becomes a pretty strong foundation which to bill. We can just attach that email to our invoice for 50%, and the customer has complete confidence in their utility and their calculation because they have no axe to grind. So 3 steps. We first of all identify how we're going to be paid, and we have a very simple agreement that does that. Not pages and pages. We just do a simple 1-page agreement. And then we find out what the savings are. We look at recent invoices, whatever other information that we need. Usually that's about it. Most of ours is on these invoices, in order to develop the recommendations that we have for the client. Then we talk to them, and the third step, we talk with them about those recommendations, get their buy-in, and then we implement them with us. The final step is we get paid. We invoice them for a proven savings that we've created. Just that simple. Now, it applies to any business, though, where you're delivering a service. All you have to do on the front end is establish a benchmark of how you're going to calculate savings. What is the existing condition that you're going to benchmark savings off of? And if the customer agrees to that on the front end, then you've got something to build on. But it could be done in any kind of consulting practice where you're You're consulting with management about results in sales. You just have to establish up front what the benchmark is, what sales are at the time that you're getting involved and starting to deliver results and change things. So think about that. There's a lot of power in this pay for performance model, because it's way easier to get agreement up front with a customer, because they're not having to lay out any money. Certainly they have to trust you, but the level of trust that they have to invest is way less than if they're writing a check, like in a traditional consulting business where someone's writing a check up front. Ours, we prove the case. Sometimes we work for a client for 6 or 8 months before we ever get paid, but we're never going to bill anybody until we put money in their pocket. Do we score with every single account? No, we don't. Nobody does that. If anybody tells you they do, they're not telling you the truth. That's not the way life works. Think about that. I'm going to talk to you more about it in coming weeks, how you can take this concept of pay for performance and benchmarking and make a lot more money, get a lot more clients easier, how we do it and how you can do it for your consulting practice, or how you can work with us and do it. Take care of everyone. Have a great weekend.